Good morning. Today we are going to see about the constructors in Java. So up to this, in the last classes, we have seen what is Java, how to write a program, simple program in Java, how to create a Java environment using JDK, and how to install JDK, how to run a program using JDK we have seen. And today we are going to see about what is a constructor. Why this constructor is very important means whenever you are going to create a class, whenever you are going to create a class, you need to create an object. Always the object helps you to access the instance variable as well as object helps you to access the member variable and the member functions which are inside a class. So to create an object, a constructor is needed. So what about this constructor? This constructor is nothing but it is a method which contains the name same as that of the class name. It is a method which contains the name same as that of the class name. Okay, and it is similar to that of a method. It is similar to that of a method. The only thing is the constructor is used to initialize the instance variables. Okay, used to initialize the instance variables of the object. Now, when a constructor is created, the constructor is similar to a method as well as it has the same name as the name of the class. So, the class name as well as the constructor name should be the same. And the constructor, the basic difference between the method and the constructor is a method contains the return data type. Okay, and return type. But a constructor does not have a return type. So a constructor does not have a return type. And so what will be the return type of a constructor? The constructor return type is its class. Defaultly, the return type is the class. If you are not going to create any constructor inside a program, okay, if you are not going to create any constructor inside the program, the JVM, Java Virtual Machine, automatically creates a default constructor. Okay, it creates a default constructor and initializes the instance variables to 0. Okay, when a class has no constructor, the JVM automatically creates a constructor. That constructor is called as default constructor, and this constructor helps you to initialize the instance variables with 0 or the null value. Okay, now I will be explaining you how to create a constructor. Now, in the case of Java constructors, okay, in the case of Java constructors, we have two types of constructors available. Okay, we have two types of constructors available. One is the default constructor and another one is parameterized constructor. Default constructor is the constructor which contains no argument. The constructor which contains no arguments. Now, here we have another type of constructor called as parameterized constructor. So, what is this parameterized constructor? If you are going to pass any parameters inside the constructor, then it is called as parameterized constructor. Now, how to create a constructor, I will show you. Okay, how to create a constructor, I will show you. A simple example. I am going to create a class followed by class name. Let the class name be sample. Okay, and then I am going to reduce the size Okay, and we can reduce the size to 18. It's enough. Class sample. Sample is the class name. Now I am going to create a constructor. As we have seen, the constructor name as well as the class name should be the same. So how to create a default constructor? Default constructor is like this, or no argument constructor. Inside this I can give like this, no argument. I have not passed any argument over here. Okay, I have not passed any argument over here. Okay, so what I have to do is I have to create a R constructor. Inside this is the constructor and this is the class. Okay, now inside this I can give the statements also. Inside this I can give the statements also. System dot out dot println of simple constructor program. Okay, this is how I have created a simple constructor. Okay, now this is called as, now I'll show you one thing. Insert and this is the class name. This is the class name and the this is your constructor, that too with no arguments. Okay, that too with no arguments. Okay, now another one constructor is there. That is, you are going to create a constructor with arguments. With arguments means you are going to create a constructor, the same thing, and I am going to pass here some value. That is, it may be int x, comma int y. Okay, this may be some. Here I may print or I may do any calculation with this. System dot out dot println of x comma y. Okay, or we can write it like this, argument 1 plus x and next system dot out dot println of end. It's argument 2 plus y. We have passed two arguments. We have created two parameters. Sorry, we have created two constructors. Okay, now these two constructors we have created. Okay, now how to access this constructor means you have to create the public static void main string args of, okay, and inside this we are going to create the instance variable. As we said, how to create an instance variable? The class name followed by instance variable. Okay, and you will be giving like this, equal to new. New is the keyword which helps you to allocate space for this instance variable. And how to initialize that instance variable? Using the constructor. Here I am going to give the constructor sample of. Now this is the constructor what we have created.